Yes, please. Go ahead.
Welcome to the sauna.
Thanks. I'll take the name.
Oh, no.
Sure.
Come on,
I'm
dude.
not. Come on, Blitz. Get in there.
Blitz. You get one middle seat in your portfolio to take.
It might be warmer in here.
Man, nobody expected this weather, but it's pretty
Right?
cool.
It's great.
Bunch of these folks got on the mountain today. It's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us today for this just another fantastic moment in our club's history. We feel whole again. So thank you to Ryan Smith, David Blitzer, and Lindsey Vonn for joining us from the ownership group. I'll just start out by inviting each one of you to make kind of an opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions. So Ryan, as the local representative, if you want to go first since you're far left, we'd love to hear from you about what this day means and what it meant to get here to this point.
So first of all, thanks everyone for coming. I think when Blitz and I sat down in our suite at the Delta Center, our first night together into this venture into soccer, I think the whole thing, someone asked the question, are you bringing the Royals back? And we looked at each other and said yes. Not having any idea what that was really going to entail, but if you look at Utah, if you look at what women's sports is doing right now and having a moment, Utah should play a big role in that. And I think that's what we're excited about. Lindsey, the group, we're just all playing a role in trying to give something to the community, because that's truly what this is. Let's make no mistake about it. This is something for our community.
David, we expect to break the record for largest women's sporting event in the history of the state of Utah today with 20,500 plus. Can you just kind of give us your thoughts on that milestone and everything over the last couple of years that have brought the Royals to this point?
Yeah, well, look, that sort of speaks for itself. When I came in today, it was the first thing that somebody had told me was that this is going to be the largest viewed, attended women's sporting event in the history of the state, which is, amazing. So really just following up on what Ryan said, I mean, at the end of the day, bringing this together was something that we talked about before we had even closed on RSL, and it was just a natural thing to do, to bring a women's soccer team back to Utah. It had done very well here. It was supported by the community. They did amazing things in the community. So we were all like, yeah, that's great. And then you get into what it entails, and then we have to give a shout out to Michelle, John, Jessica, Lindsey, so many people that are part of our group who have just really stepped in to actually get us here to this day. I mean, this is an amazing day. You go outside and you just walk around the field and you can just feel like we got this right, and we now have, as you said it earlier, kind of put this back together with the men's and the women's. So we're all super excited.
Awesome, thank you. Lindsey, you don't need much of an introduction. Everybody here is familiar with your career, but I think everybody would love to hear about the involvement that yourself and the foundation now have with our club.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited to be supporting women in another avenue. Invested in a lot of other women's sports teams, but I think for me this is probably the biggest and best opportunity I have to support local women. And partnering with my foundation, we're going to be giving 25 tickets to underserved girls in the community for every home game. And we're also going to have a Strong Girls Camp for the Lindsey Vonn Foundation sometime this summer. So just being able to, again, unite the community and support women, that is my main mission in life now as a retired athlete. And seeing, all the amazing staff, the female-driven staff, I think that's a game changer, So for me, I'm honored to be a part of it. Thank these guys for having me on, and just looking forward to help Utah expand in as many ways as possible.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Alex Vehar, Salt Lake Tribune.
Thank you guys for doing this conference before the game today. This question is for either one of you who wish to answer. Amy Rodriguez was very candid the other day, and with the expectation of the team potentially, in her belief that if everything goes right, they can win a title this year. The sporting director, Kelly Cousins, was a little bit more measured, maybe in the next 2 to 3 years. Fans also more measured. And one of them told me that as long as it's not last place, I'm happy. So a lot of, And I'm just curious, like, as the season starts, expansion team, but, kind of not really. What do you guys see as a successful season for this club, year one?
Well, it is a full-blown expansion team. I would start with that. So that comes with a lot of different dynamics, right? You have a total clean sheet of paper in terms of building the organization up, but it's a long-term game for us. That said, Ryan's extremely competitive. We all know that Lindsey Vonn's extremely competitive, and they're winners, right? And so clearly, we are out there to compete and to create a championship team, no question. Is that going to happen in the first year? I mean, it's going to be hard. The reality is we want to really set the tone for this team, and obviously our very first move on the sporting side was Amy, and bringing Amy back to Utah has been incredible for everybody. But there's a lot of wood to chop. So what's a successful season? Really integrating very well with the community. Definitely not finishing last, but I don't think we need to be winning championships. That would be wonderful. And really having a team gel. Like we care a ton about the culture of this entire organization. And so far so good. But that's the reality of having a season starting today and going on for the next whatever that is. Number of months is really seeing that all come together as a team is what I would call success.
Caleb Turner, KSL.
Yeah, the players and coaches have talked a lot about how much support they feel from you guys as owners, the ownership group in general. I think obviously it's evident with the new facility that's being built out in Harriman. But going forward, I guess, what is kind of the best way that you guys can envision making that support from ownership evident to the players and also the fans in the community as well?
I mean, the support they're feeling is from Michelle and the team and Amy. As much as we think we're part of this and we're supporting it, which we are, the day-to-day interactions definitely happen on the ground with Michelle and the culture that they're building. And that's what they're feeling. I think from a community standpoint, I don't think we need to worry about that. The soccer community, especially for women here in Utah, just when all of the team came out at the Jazz game the other night, even yesterday when they were doing training, and just hearing their stories, players who are from Sandy coming back and being here. It's emotional for a lot of people, and I think that let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it as Utah. We're having such an amazing moment in this state. Everyone just needs to take a deep breath and go, look what's happening. Whether it's this or hockey or baseball and everything that's coming, and seeing people who are not from here want to come and invest here. Enjoy this. This isn't what it's always been like. And I think that sometimes we don't we belong in this spot, and this team should be competitive. And Michelle's not from here and is here, and this doesn't happen everywhere. It's pretty cool.
Ryan or David, I guess either one of you, but I want to ask about the other owner sitting next to you guys, and maybe I'll follow up with Lindsey a little bit, because I know she's got a little bit of history with this league, I think, with Angel City and women's sports and that kind of thing, so maybe we'll delve into that a little bit. But what attracted you guys to wanting to work with her and invest with her and kind of bring her on board with this club in particular?
It's really easy. I could give you 100 reasons why it's really great to have Lindsey Vonn as a partner and working together with us. But I still remember that day I called you, and I was like, "Hey, Lindsey, we're about to announce that we're going to have this women's team coming back to Utah. I think you spend a lot of time in Utah."
He didn't really finish a sentence. I was like, I'm in.
And what she does outside of just, what we all know Lindsey Vonn for, she does amazing things in the community and her foundation, and she's part of this community, and it's a no-brainer. So it was more about, I hope Lindsey says yes.
I said yes.
From our standpoint, we become close friends, and what I love about Lindsey is she says she's in all the time. And if you've ever skied with Lindsey, it's super fun, but you're only looking the back of her helmet. And I hope that's the same thing she does here. And
Even at midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're all so connected. I remember when Dwayne and I went out, Dwayne and Lindsey are connected separately from a whole different side. It's crazy how it all lines up.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to be, working with these guys. We're friends, and I feel like we're pretty much family at this point. And for me, having lived here since basically 2001 for the Olympics, my first Olympics, I was 17. I'm now in the bid committee for the 2034 games. I love being a part of this community, and whether I live here full time or not, I want to support it, and to have the opportunity to work alongside these two amazing men who support women and who want to see women succeed. That doesn't happen very often. So thank you guys for empowering all of us to hopefully be very, very successful together.
You touched on it right there a little bit, Lindsey, but you do have experience with this league. You did a little bit of work with Angel City and whatnot, and now with the Royals. When this project popped up, I'm assuming, but I just want to kind of, I guess, sort of fully nail it down, that this was like a convergence, the best of both worlds in a lot of ways for you, because you had already believed in the NWSL and now bringing it back to sort of your adopted home state in a lot of ways in Utah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I've always wanted to support women in sports, and however I can do that, I want to try. And obviously there was an opportunity to invest in LAFC, and I love being a part of that, but this is my community, and also partnering with my foundation to be able to empower the youth in the community. I think that is a really unique opportunity that I feel very lucky to be able to be a part of. So it's definitely the best of both worlds. This is my home, I feel like, and again, to be able to empower women, have my foundation involved, work alongside these guys and the amazing women that are leading this organization, it's an honor.
Hi, Amy Donaldson with KSL. So I've covered you as a skier, and I actually have a couple questions for you. I remember you at one time just trying to get people to treat women as not, like you're always compared to men no matter what you do, male athletes, right? And you were definitely trying to say, like, look, I'll ski against them. I'll, compare our times, whatever I need to make you take me seriously as a woman athlete, right? And I know you took some criticism for that. And but what do you see in this moment, right? Like Ryan mentioned it, like there is definitely something happening in women's athletics. What do you see happening as a woman who had to fight for just to be recognized as good as the guys? And
I think this is a continuation of what's been going on in women's sports since Billie Jean King. And it's taken us a long time to get to this point. And now I feel like, it's getting to a tipping point. It's not a moment, it's a movement, and it's going to continue on, and we're going to continue to get more support. And I think we're only continuing to show what women are capable of, that we can have amazing sports, that we can entertain, that we can have the viewership, that we can have the support. I think this is just a great example of a lot of women who've worked really hard for us to be in this moment today, and hopefully, we're going to be able to carry that torch and create a whole new path for the next generation.
And then I would ask you, and the boys can answer too if they want, what do you, like, as this goes forward, what do you hope, why does it matter? Like, what do you want women to get? What do you want men to get out of this? Like, why does this matter that these women are here, the best in the game, doing what they're doing?
It all matters. Every step matters. Every path we pave helps someone behind us go even farther than we did. I think, obviously, we're all competitive. We want to see success, but if we take a step back, this is success already. We're starting from a winning position, and we can always go up from here. But, this doesn't happen very often. We've got an amazing support system. We've got amazing leadership. And so I want to focus on that and take that positive in. But looking for the future, all of these steps will add up in the end. Hopefully with a championship or 2 or 3. But yeah, I always feel that every step matters because, when I was a kid, I was inspired by my idol, and the smallest things can make a huge impact. And this is a big thing. This isn't a small thing. And so we can make tremendous amount of impact with this team.
Yeah, I would just add, Lindsey used the word tipping point, which I use a lot in relation to women's sports and pushing it forward. But I feel like for the past year and change, I felt like people are finally realizing it. And some of that is the networks have done a better job of getting behind it. And once people watch it, so I would say to people about a lot of things, just come watch this once or come experience this once. And if it's not for you, that's fine. But if it is, you make a lifelong fan. And so I think more and more people have tuned in, both live, TV, et cetera, realized how amazing these athletes are, like truly amazing. And then they're now fans for life. So we need to just keep opening the funnel, okay? For kids, you know, for girls, like for them to be able to go watch this game out there and realize, like, I can do this. And if you think about, you know, women's soccer in the U.S. and you think about women's soccer in Utah, I mean, it's amazing already and obviously growing quite substantially. And so we're just hopefully going to be, you know, really important in that system in terms of running this team the right way, which I know we are and will. But overall, on the women's sports side of the equation, I think you're going to continue to see huge growth. I mean, even if you just looked at the NWSL numbers last year, let alone what I think they're going to be this year, you know, I think viewership was up over 80%, social was up well over 100%, attendance was up, I don't know, 40, 50%. And there's so much excitement coming into the league for this season and having 2 expansion teams in great markets. And for anybody who was paying attention earlier today, there was an amazing opening game at Kansas City Stadium where they had the first, I believe, purpose-built arena or stadium for women's sports. They opened it today with an amazing game. So again, let's just keep driving forward and showing off this amazing talents.
I think the only thing I would add is, and David's part of a lot of businesses and you see a lot of leadership, this organization is truly women run. And I wish all the organizations that I'm a part of ran this smoothly. And I just want to give another shout out to Michelle, because you were in a different position in the organization. You say, I'm not going to run away from this. We want the women's team. We want to go grab it, give it all to me. I'm going to go from being the attorney to being the president. I'm going to hire it all. I'm going to set it up. And I don't think I've received one phone call where something wasn't going well. And it's been pretty incredible and inspirational. And it's not just the players, it's your position that I want my daughters to look up and be like, that's me, I can be in sports, I can take that role as well. That's pretty cool.
Agreed.
Andrea?
Guys, I'm just curious, when it comes to being a leader, an owner, what is something that you all take pride in the most, especially with an organization, a true expansion team, like you mentioned, David? What do you guys think that, you know, what do you take pride in when it comes to starting this whole new organization?
Look, again, at the end of the day, we're super competitive and want to bring a championship to Utah. There's no question. But we want to create this organization where Ryan said it really well in terms of kids out there looking at this organization, both from a sporting perspective and a business perspective, and saying, wow, I can do that. That can be me in the future. So I think this team and this organization's ability to be massively out in the community, which they already are, right? But the reality is that's a long-term play. I think, again, when we think about success, it's really that this is a community business, and we don't think ourselves as owners, by the way. These are community businesses. We happen to be in a very lucky position that we are investors in this team and this organization. But we let the amazing management team, you know, do their thing, and we learn from them. But I think we all have a collective view, besides the competitiveness point, which is clear, that we want everybody to be proud of working in this organization, and we want to be in the community so much that everyone has a positive impression of the Utah Royals, which I think they will.
I think for me, it's, you know, I've said before that I'm into sports, but Utah sports. And I think there's a mission with this community to also elevate Utah, and I think it's working. I know in the other leagues, I mean, Utah's gone from what was a small market to definitely more than a mid-market in everything we're doing. I know the rest of the league, and Dave's a part of the Sixers, and watching where Utah's starting to stack rank, we're in uncharted waters for us. And so I think that all of that benefits the community, because with that comes amazing things, and people wanting to play here, and people seeing this backdrop, and you know, we've got to keep that momentum going, and that's what's super fun. And it's not that we want so many more people to move here. We just want our people that are here to to see everything that they can be. And
But they are moving here.
they are moving here.
You're not going to stop that influx
but
of growth.
but it's just, once again, it's like Utah's we're having a good time right now.
How's it going, y'all? Johnny Keeley with URFC and in RSL. Just a quick question for you, David. You mentioned that the Royals have this amazing new stadium, or not the Royals, or Kansas City has this amazing new stadium specifically built for women's sports, and they had to sell out 11,000 people there today, and it was an amazing game. What does it mean to you guys to have a sold-out 20,000 people here today in Utah?
I mean, it's absolutely incredible. I came out here with a couple of my friends, and they said, so how many people are going to be there today? And I was like, I think it'll be close to 20,000. They're like, well, how many seats are in the stadium? I'm like, pretty much like 20,000. And they were like, seriously? There's going to be 20,000 people there? I'm like, I think so. Look, it's incredible, right? Like, couldn't be happier. And again, it all keeps coming back to those people who come out for this experience today, hopefully have an amazing experience and continue to come back and support this club. And that's back to that whole community engagement point. But yeah, having 20,000 people here today is awesome.
Can I ask another question?
Yep.
So I wondered, Lindsey, if you would talk about watching Peekaboo and her inspiring you and what that meant to you. I mean, seeing it makes it possible. Could you talk a little bit? The investment in women's sports has been significantly less than men forever and ever, but that seems to be shifting. Kansas City is an example of that. What do you give us a couple examples of things where you weren't treated as fairly, and seeing the shift and being a part of making sure that doesn't happen to the next generation of athletes in any sport, because it's
yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of instances where I wasn't treated fairly or treated less than my male counterparts, but I focus on what I did with it and what I can do for others going forward. And of the 20,000 people here, there will definitely be kids that will become NWSL players, 100%. And so that's how I look at it. I look at investing in women's sports as an opportunity to pave a new path that's hopefully better than the one that I was on, an easier path for them to accomplish their dreams. And, like David said, there is a tipping point in how women's sports is being viewed, how it's being invested in, and people are starting to catch on that women's sports is awesome. And it will only continue to grow. And as long as we continue to do our jobs, people will continue to follow, and the next generation will continue to push the limits. And that's what it's all about, honestly.
Okay, last question, Alex Vehar.
Let me go in front of Andrea's camera.
Yeah, so I do have a Rose question. But before I do that real quick, Ryan, I noticed that you mentioned the Delta Center earlier. Does that mean that you're in the camp of the Delta Center? Is that whole? No, I just wanted to ask. So in terms of the community with the Royals, everybody always says that sports can bring people together, right? And so to what extent do either of you think that having this team here, having it, like you mentioned, run by women and it running smoothly, and it can galvanize little girls who are living here, what do you think the impact could be on the wider state, where I think there's a perception, and a lot of people would say that women have been marginalized in this state in its history?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think the entrepreneurship that's happening in this state by women is second to none of anywhere in the country. There is more entrepreneurship here, and I think that's something that we should be super proud of. So I think women in general have a pretty rotten history of how they were marginalized, but I think we should be proud of what's going on in Utah. And that should be the only narrative, because we're leading the country. And so I think that's a big point. And I think we're showing the art of the possible. I mean, honestly, this is a startup. I don't think we all know what it is, but what we do know is Michelle's here, we're here. I'm looking out at all of the different, and I hope you all get to know all the other investors that are here, because they're all betting on us. I see Andy and Shelby in the back, Andy's from Nike and been in Oregon, and he's here, all bought in on Utah, and Jess, and like, I hope everyone can see this story with Scott. Like, I think I'm the only Utah, me and Lindsey, that are here, like, bowling in. That's the impact. You're seeing an impact, a little microcosm of it right here. Hopefully that continues out, because these are prominent people who believe in this vision of women's sports and Utah at the same time, and pulling that together. And hopefully this is a place where that can bring the community together. And I think that's what sports are about. Sports are about, we have so many things wrong with the communities that we're in that are hard, but this is a moment where people come together and they forget about life and they create memories, and they can look back and say, wow, this is what it's about. And I think if you watch people exit today, I think one of the cool things would be, fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters with their hands around each other going, okay, this is it. This is what it's supposed to be. And if that's the impact, plus they can look at these incredible leaders, like, I'll back that all day.
All right, thanks everybody. We're 45 minutes away from kickoff, so really appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you.